Everybody, I'm Patrick and welcome to my channel. Welcome to this video. And in this video, I'm gonna be talking about winging scapula, which is something that I've been suffering with for a while. And it's really not even that intense of a thing. I found out it's quite common. A lot of people have this. But since I use a lot of arm movement for drum strikes and shredding, kind of like destroyed that thing. It really affected me. So I want to get into this a little bit more. Before I go any further, I gotta give you the disclaimer. I'm not a physical therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm a metalhead on a bus, trying to grind out some of the most gnarly riffs on the planet. Well, my planet anyway. And, it's a back injury, so you need to go check with a real doctor if you think you have any of these signs or symptoms, or if your winging shoulder is doing anything, what's going on. You gotta check a physical therapist. You gotta check a doctor, because I'm not one. So, let's get to it here. So first, the winging scapula, what is it? You have a series of muscles, okay? That's like holding the scapula, and this is gonna be the scapula, and this is gonna be the back. So you have all these muscles that are holding it in place, and if any of them are paralyzed, weak, damaged from any kind of blunt trauma, overuse or lack of use, I mean, if you have weak muscles, it's not working, that scapula is not gonna ride along the back nice and smooth. And over time, eventually, it could just be popping right off. And it looks kind of like this. And if you take a look at that, you can see the left shoulder has a nice smoothness. There's nothing going on, but if you look at the right shoulder of this guy, whoo buddy, that thing is popping off ripe and ready. So we just saw an example of that. If you're kind of curious as to see if you have this or anything, there's two tests you can do. The first one is a wall push. So you can take your hands, you put it against the wall, and you lean in. You push against the wall like you're trying to push that wall down. Get them barriers out, push through it. And you're gonna notice if anything's off, kind of funny, you'll feel it and you'll see it. Just put a camera behind you, take a look, or have someone else take a look for you. The second test, which is the one where I really felt it because I was doing yoga and just like using my arms a lot, and this is where I really felt out of balance, was the arm raise test. So here's where I'm gonna go to a video now and you can see my condition. All right, look at that handsome, mighty metal man. So this is the arm raise test. As you can see, my arms are raised, and as I'm coming down, you can see that the right shoulder is definitely looking a lot different than the left one, and it's jutting out a lot further. And as it was doing that, it starts pinching the front side of my arm. And I rotate there, you can see it comes through and it pinches that front side of the arm. That's the winging scapula that I have going on there, and the muscles underneath and around that, the serratus anterior, they're just weak. They're not even firing right. So the thing pops off weird, the whole shoulder gets out. I always felt like I had a loose shoulder, like a contortionist or something. And maybe I could get good at that with this. Maybe there's a bonus to this. I'm not really sure. So what happens is when these muscles are not firing properly, when they're not actually like working in conjunction together, that scapula just kind of starts moving on its own, starts popping off in weird ways. And this affects everything. And for me, what happened is it started to pinch a nerve up here, and I started getting something called a thoracic nerve syndrome or thoracic outlet syndrome, where this whole outlet, everything here is being pinched. And like I said, it's coming down. I got these nerves and these muscles coming down here, right to my fingers in my hands. And it ended up creating tingling sensations. I lost feeling in my hand. I lost the ability to grip really tight. I started losing strength, and I absolutely could not hold a pick or play guitar for more than 5 minutes at a time when it was at the peak of its critical, painful, damaging experience. So if you're gonna be looking this up, if you were to type in winging scapula, you'll see some of these images, you'll see exercises and a lot of information about this. If you are a musician and you're noticing, maybe you're running into some issues, you might be dealing with something of this nature. You might be pushing too hard like I did. Almighty, mighty metalness. Pushing way too hard to be the most metal. Came at a price. The serratus anterior is what really holds it, and that's the one that affected me. It was just weak sauce and not firing. Actually, it was kind of paralyzed. And this comes from a concept that I wasn't fully aware of, but I think we all kind of know a little bit, that if you have bad posture, you're going to be setting yourself up for suffering later on. So this is the main takeaway right here. Get good posture. Sit up. Put that up there. Tuck that chin in and be nice and easy on your back. Because when you sit like this, or like this, like that, or you're sitting under the computer like this, or you're playing your guitar like this, you're just staying hunched. I used to sit like this for 3 or 4 hours, just like hunched over my guitar. Look at this. Whoop. That's terrible posture. Because I'm trying to see the frets so I can just see if I'm good at anything. And so I was just chasing the shred. Chasing that metal technique forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And I ended up pushing way too hard. Practiced for 3-4 hours a day when I first started playing because I was absolutely obsessed with it and just needed to do the shreddiest shred stuff. I blame Jason Becker for that. I love you, man. You kick ass. You inspired me to pick up that guitar. However, I just went too hard. Way too long for way too many years. The interesting thing about posture, if you were to visualize these as vertebrae, and this is what I found out when I went to a physical therapist, that when you're sitting in a certain position, let's say you are leaning forward with poor posture, staring at your phone or just staring at your feet. If you stay in a position like that for 3 minutes, your spine adopts that as the new posture. So this is why you see older people with that big old hump going through here and like, everyone's like, here. And I feel so bad for the younger generation glued to this stuff, glued to these things, and just not even paying attention to this. Like, they're just like this, man, they're gonna be screwed. They're screwed, y'all screwed. So check yourself before you wreck yourself like I did. And it didn't get much better until I really had a clear understanding of this when I went to the physical therapist. So the interesting thing is, with your spine and leaning forward, there's this gel, this intervertebral disc, intervertebral, there's a gushy gel between your vertebrae. When you're leaning forward, it's much like a tube of toothpaste. You know, if you got a tube of toothpaste and you squeeze one side, one moment. This mighty thing of crest. So if you take this mighty crest here, imagine this is the gel. You know, you squeeze it till it's even, but if you lean forward and you squeeze everything to one side, you see you got everything squeezed to one side, and then when you lean back, everything squeezes to the other side. So here's the issue with toothpaste. Crest sucks. So what happens when this gel gets pressed in the back, if you're leaning forward all the time, bad posture, and you're using your back muscles and like all your muscles to like really push for something technical or repetitive kind of use, that gel can actually start pushing out and strike your nerves, which is what happened to me. And that's what happened in high school. I was like digging and digging and digging and digging and playing and playing and playing and trying to shred. I ended up feeling a pop sensation, right in here, like some type of burning sensation, and it knocked me out for a couple days, and I guess it healed. I think my body just adapted to the new suffering and forgot about it, basically. It just shut that muscle down. Not completely, but it just weakened it. I ended up having this condition just develop over time. I didn't even notice it. They pointed it out to me in the military when I joined, and I was doing all the tests. I was doing the push-ups. They're like, hey, your shoulder, it's kind of raising up funny, higher than the other one. Do you notice that? Does that hurt? And I was like, no. And I just kept going. I had no idea. It wasn't until, about 5 years ago that something happened. It made sense. I didn't know it was my shoulder, though. I thought it was carpal tunnel, because the pain was in the hand. I was losing tingling. I was getting tingling sensations, and like everything was messing up, and it sounded like and looked like carpal tunnel and tendonitis. And it just wasn't. I did learn a lot of exercises like dealing with this. And the thing is, I was like, well, maybe it's just massage. We're gonna rub these arms out. I got some crazy vice grip tools, all kinds of different massage things to help me out. I got an acupressure pen to help me. I started using that. Anything that I could do to relieve the pain. All of the stuff that I learned to band-aid this situation before I actually fixed it, which involved fixing my practice technique. I used to practice for 3 to 4 hours a day, chasing the whole 10,000 hour rule where, after 10,000 hours, you're just an expert at what you do, which is not true. I mean, you know a lot about it, but if you're doing it wrong, I guess you're an expert of the wrong stuff. So I guess I messed myself up, and I can help you all not do that. I guess there's some value in there. And then the next video, I'm also going to be talking about the stretches that I'm doing, the tools that I use to help manage all of this, and the exercises specific for the serratus anterior, strength training exercises, and the 2 exercises that was given to me by my physical therapist. That, by the way, you should not do unless your physical therapist gives those to you. But I'm going to go ahead and show some of that and the theory behind that as to why it is, and it all goes back to posture. I had bad posture. People, if you got bad posture, you're setting yourself up for suffering later on down the road. Or if you're doing something really technical, like you're doing a lot of computer work, you're sitting at the desk a lot, or you're grinding on the guitar or something, you gotta watch that stuff. Don't take it down. Well, it won't take it down, but it'll be super uncomfortable, and depending on what you do, guitar playing doesn't really look like it's all that strenuous, but that's a lot of fine motor control, and there's a lot happening. And if you're not paying attention to the little stuff, that's why they say posture is so important. Good technique is important. Taking your time and having a conscious, healthy practice schedule is important. So that's what we're going to be going on in the next video. I hope you all found this insightful, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's do this. If you like what you saw, subscribe it, like it, and let's go!